I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Look, no one knows the way Donald Trump thinks more than Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen gives us an inside look into the playbook that he believes that Donald Trump and his current legal team are following. And Michael Cohen wrote the playbook. He sees it in action, and he is exposing it for us here on the MeidasTouch Network. This is from Political Beatdown, where I got to hear this from Michael Cohen. Make sure you subscribe to Political Beatdown and the new Mea Culpa feed, Michael Cohen's other podcast that's now exclusively on the MeidasTouch Network. Let's hear from Michael Cohen about this playbook. Play the clip.
He's already lost that first part, the fraud determination pursuant to the motion that, again, Judge Engoron approved. That part is over. This is now merely, once again for Donald, it is a trial for damages, plain and simple. And the biggest problem with Don Jr., with Eric, and so on, and even Alan Weisselberg in the way that they're testifying. Let me tell you how this thing panned it out. And it's easy for me to say because I've seen it happen before. Let's not forget there was the Attorney General case, the one with Trump Soho, and there was also the other case which dealt with Trump University. So here's what happens. The brain trust, and I'm talking about the lawyers, the Chris Kais, the Alina Habas, and the Cliff Robert, along with Alan Garten, who's general counsel, and maybe one or two other individuals. They're all sitting down at a table with Don Jr. and Eric. And they're coming up with, of course, questions that they're going to ask and how to stay on message. They need to answer the questions. And everybody starts throwing their 2 cents in. The problem is that you have Alina Habba, who, for whatever the reason might be, thinks that she is the new fixer, that she's the new protector of Donald Trump. And she'll do and say anything in order to give the appearance that she's protecting him. In fact, every time she opens her mouth, she puts him behind the 8 ball because it's a jury. I'm sorry, it's not a jury trial. She fucked that up already. This is a bench trial. So she is now pissing off, as Donald is, as Don Jr. is, as Eric is. They're pissing off the guy who now is making the determination on the disgorgement, on the amount of money that you are and your company and the co-defendants are going to be fined. Plain and simple. That's a really stupid strategy. Now, if you had something intelligent to say that could help to exonerate you, then by all means you should be doing it. And you should be laying that out in a foundation, whether it's on cross or a redirect, however. That's what they're supposed to do. But no, what they do, it's all performative. They're all performing to a party of one. And the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why? And I think the answer is because they already know what the outcome is going to be. They already know that they don't have the assets in order to cover the disgorgement, whether it's a baseline of 250 or it hits the numbers that I keep saying in excess of 600 million. That's probably what's going on here. And so their feeling is, all right, look, the only thing that we can do is as soon as we get the negative decision, we'll just appeal it and we'll delay as much as we can. And hopefully that Trump ends up pulling off a victory in 2024. And even I want brigaders, I really want you to hear this because this is a thought that I was, that entered my mind very early in the morning, and I wanted to share it with you. So just imagine for a second, he gets whacked with a $600 million number. And we all know that he doesn't have $600 million in equity after paying off taxes, because we talked about that before. His basis in some of these properties are insanely low. Like, for example, 40 Wall Street his basis is $1 million, not to mention there's recapture and on the depreciation. On top of that, he's going to get taxed as a New York resident because that's where the property is located. So you have city, state, and federal. So whatever the amount is going to be, minus what mortgage he may have on that property, with taxes, it leaves very little in order to pay off the disgorgement amount. So here's the danger. Hypothetically, the Mandarin Mussolini, Captain Chaos, the sociopath himself, somehow manages to win the election. Somehow manages. What do you think that he's going to do? Well, we already know what he said he's going to do. He's going to rewrite the Constitution. And by rewriting the Constitution, he's going to strip the judiciary and the legislative branches of government of their power as created by the tripartite system of our founding fathers. And he's going to confer all power to the executive branch, which of course is him and him alone as the chief executive. In essence, he's making himself a king. That's really what's going to happen here. His power of executive privilege and the fact that he can write, executive privilege documents will make him into a king. So he will do, because Donald Trump doesn't think of things on his own, but he sees what others have done, and thinking that it's really cool, he'll do the same. So let me give you an example on what will happen day number 2 after he confers all the power of government to the executive branch, to himself. This is crazy shit. So listen up to this. He's going to call in people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, the Walt family. Going to call in all the top 100 billionaires in this country, the mega billionaires. And he'll say to people like Elon Musk, and I hope Elon, somebody maybe on this, who's watching today out of the 20,000 people or wherever that are watching right now, and the hundreds and 500,000-600,000 people that will ultimately, hopefully one person knows Elon and that they can get this message to him. He will ask you, how much money are you worth? And you'll come back and you'll say, well, according to the latest number, it's 300 billion. And Donald will laugh at him and say, no, you're worth 1 billion. And he'll get him to sign over $299 billion. And then everybody will say, stop it, Michael. That's bullshit. Can't happen. You can't do that. Well, you can if you're the king. You can if all the power of government is conferred upon you. Well, you know what? I think that then who did this? Mohammed bin Salman did it. And he did it to his own fucking relatives. So what do you think Donald Trump will end up doing? And he'll go down the line. Really, you don't want to do it? He'll have you jailed for what? He goes, for stock manipulation, for fraud on America, for treason, whatever. The same bullshit that Mohammed bin Salman did to his relatives, to the other royals in Saudi Arabia. That's what he's going to do, because he's not thinking out of the box. He thought it was cool that this guy hung them by their necks until such time as they signed over what he wanted. And Donald will be the richest man in the world legitimately overnight. So he's thinking to himself at this moment, if he could win the election, it changes everything for him. He doesn't give a shit about his paltry 2 billion, 3 billion, 1 billion, whatever the number is, because he will be worth close to $1 trillion, if not more. And mark my words, I know that sounds hyperbolic and it sounds really far-fetched and so on. It's not. Not if you know Donald Trump, and if you know the way he thinks. This is the way he thinks. And this is just the beginning of the chaos that he's going to create in this country.
Thank you so much, Michael Cohen, for sharing that with us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed on audio to Political Beatdown. Just search for it and hit subscribe. And wherever you get audio podcasts, simple to search. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on the MeidasTouch Network.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.